Welcome to the Milt Talk Legacy Builders podcast, a place where Milts can connect to one another to inspire, motivate, and collaborate to continue to build a strong and well-connected alumni association. I believe that Milton Hershey School rebranding is actually just getting started, and I want to be part of that journey. I think the best way to commemorate Milton and Catherine Hershey is to continue our own legacy that impacts the world as Milton Hershey so impacted us. I believe the level of extraordinary that each and every Milt carries within them is deeply underestimated, and this podcast will help in the journey to show off what Milts are really made of. I'm excited to get to know more Milts, more insight to their upbringing, and what they're doing now to build their legacy and bring value to others, and what being a Milt really means to them. Today I'm speaking with Brittany Lakes, class of 2006, founder of the Be Better Company. The Be Better Company is a Black-owned, mom-owned shop dedicated to self-empowerment. The mission is to promote self-advocacy by providing holistic alternatives for pain management, stress management, and moisture retention for extreme skin conditions. Each ingredient, each product, and each touch has been formulated to promote a deeper sense of self through your body. From pain management to pleasure, the focus stays on you. Love this. Welcome to the Milt Talk Legacy Builders podcast, Brittany, and thank you so much for being my guest.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I was so excited to interview you because I love the path and the industry you're in, the space that you're in, especially with everything trending now in like self-help and self-care and self-love and holistic things that we put into our bodies. So I'm very much interested in learning more. I'm going to get started with, how old were you when you got to MHS?
So I was 6 years old when I started at Milton Hershey. Yes, August 14th. Yes, 1996. That's one date I'll never forget. But it was, it was about 24 years ago now. Yeah.
Wow, can you believe that?
Yeah.
Flies by. Do you remember your first day?
I do. I just remember, gratefully, I was young enough where I didn't really know what was going on.
Yeah.
I knew that my mom had left, but I was just so intrigued by my new space that I wasn't too scared.
Okay.
That didn't settle in until a few days later.
Yeah. And you're like, wait a minute. So I'm staying here
then. Right. Once the Pop-Tarts ran out, I'm like, okay, where's my mom? Like,
That's what it is. Yeah, I'm ready to go now.
Yeah.
So where did you move from? Where did you live before that?
So I'm originally from the Bronx. So I came from Bronx, New York to Hershey.
Wow, that must have been super, super different. But I guess when you were young, so it probably was just like you didn't probably even notice too big of a difference in those areas.
No, not at all. Not at all. I really didn't, it wasn't until I was older that like I realized that my upbringing wasn't the same as everyone else's. But Milton Hershey, I think that's probably what intrigued me the most going there was noticing that there were huge differences in where I was previously, and just being so excited to experience it all.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good. That's really good. That's a good like outlook on it, because it's tough. It's tough to get there at such a young age.
Right.
Most times at 6, like you're still attached to your mom or your dad, or like you're still attached to that person. But were you the only person in your family to go to Milton Hershey? Do you have siblings?
I do. I'm actually the youngest. Okay. And I was the only one to go. So that was, I think that honestly was the hardest part of the transition, was going from having my sisters and my mom every day to not having them, when I needed guidance or, just trying to navigate through, coming into elementary school and having house parents and such. But yeah, I would say that was probably the hardest part, is going by myself.
Yeah, I could totally see that. How old are your sisters?
My sisters are 7 and 9 years older than me, and then my brother is 13 years older than me. Okay. So really, it was like having 3 moms, but but it was cool. It was cool. Yeah.
So did you do any sports when you were in Milton Hershey?
I did. I did. I played basketball. I played field hockey. I ran hurdles in track for a few years. But I didn't really start taking sports seriously until high school. And that's definitely one of my regrets in Milton Hershey, just not taking advantage of all of the structure, all of the opportunities. But I did in high school. I did play sports and I loved it. I loved it. I actually saw a huge a significant change in my grades while playing sports. You know, that structure really helped me.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I say the same exact thing. If I were to have a regret, it would be that I did not take advantage of all the resources, everything they offered us. Like we
Right.
really had it all. Yeah. Because
Right.
there's so much like discipline and structure and value you can get just by being committed to a sport and a team. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those lifelong qualities that you carry with you, you know, all the way through adulthood. So yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, and I feel like I missed out on that. Like I never took a sport seriously, even in high school.
Right.
Like I never really took it too serious to where like, I I kept with it. I think there was one or
Right.
two sports that I kept with throughout the entire season. Yeah, and I feel like, man,
Right.
why did I just not? I know. Hindsight is always 2020, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So after you graduated, did you decide to go to college?
I did. I went to California University of Pennsylvania, which is a small, it's a small state school right outside of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Um, I studied biology there, but I actually ended up finishing with a certificate for sustainable agriculture in Mendocino Community College.
Wow.
And so when I was studying biology for my undergrad, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. But then when I ended up moving to California, probably about 5 years after college. And I was kind of immersed in agriculture and horticulture. And so I started taking classes there, and that's where I finished my program.
Wow, very cool. I love that you are into the earth and what it really takes to like cultivate the land and then to get your fruits out of that. I love that because I've
Thank you.
always like when I started to talk to you again recently, I saw that I'm like, I do always remember her being so like down to earth, very sound, earthy, artsy person. So I'm like, this
Thank
is
you.
like the best. You needed this. That industry
Absolutely.
needed you is what it really is. Because
Thank
you had
you.
it in you. Yes, absolutely. I love that. So after you did that and you finished out all your stuff there, what was the next step? What did you do next?
So living in California. So well, first before I finished my program at Mendocino Community College in California, I was living in New York. So I had a corporate job. I thought that I had found my career.
Yeah.
I was pretty young. I was about 22 or 23. But then the company had a marketing reorg and I lost my job.
Wow. Yeah.
So I think that hit me really hard, and it kind of forced me to reevaluate what it was that like I was doing with myself, what I wanted for my life as far as a career, and what I was really capable of. And so I kind of just took this crazy chance and I moved out to California.
Yeah.
And I had been pretty blessed to be able to go back to school and not have to worry about, working 40, 50 hours a week. And so in school, I was able to take my experiences while living in California, being surrounded by wineries and different farms, beef farms, bison farms, different vegetable farms. I was able to kind of try my hand at different things until I found what worked for me or what I was interested in.
Yeah, that's really great because that also gave you so much hands-on experience,
Absolutely.
with the ground, with different areas, with talking to whatever farmers you probably met during those times and you learning, as you're going,
Yeah.
you're learning. Yeah.
Yeah.
So once
Absolutely.
you did that, what was it? Do you think it was like that layoff that made you realize, okay, I think I'm going to take the entrepreneurial route, or did you still kind of dabble in corporate America?
So I think that gave me the physical push to take a chance on myself. But I honestly, I can't say that I always knew that I would be an entrepreneur. In hindsight, the biggest sign for me would be growing up. I noticed that a lot of my friends had that kind of mindset where it was, I've wanted to be a nurse since I was 5. I've wanted to be a teacher since I was 5, but I never had that. I would see something, or I'd see a career and I'd say, I could do that, or I want to try my hand at that. And so, I would say in hindsight, that was probably the biggest sign for me that maybe I was meant to kind of be that explorer of new things, of different things. But I never wanted to be locked into one profession.
Yeah. I feel like I was very much the same way. Like I always, and you know what, it is so crazy. You are probably like the 10th person who literally said they started with biology and then ended up somewhere else. Everyone has, like, half of the people I know start with biology. I don't know what it is about Milts and biology. Isn't that crazy?
Mr. Moore.
Yeah.
Mr. Moore. He is the most, like, he really changed my entire, just by being himself, he changed my entire outlook on science. Like, just cool. He just brought such coolness, and it really, like, and it made things so easy to understand that I was like, I just want to be Mr. Moore. I'm just going to study biology.
How funny is that? You know what? I never thought about that.
Helps.
And a lot of us did have Mr. Moore. How crazy. Teacher can make all the difference, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Not a lot of people are interested about biology. You know what I mean?
Right.
Wow. Okay. So from there, after you went to all the different farms and places, what did you do next?
So I had a job. I had 2 jobs. I actually worked at Mendocino Community College as well. They had a garden that I maintained there. And then I also worked on a permanent farm that paid us, we had our we were paid, but we also had the opportunity to receive any type of products from the farm after harvest. And so I kind of had this idea where, now I no longer have this live product. I no longer have this living plant, but I can still create products that will allow you to receive the benefits from the plant as if it were still living. And so I just started kind of experimenting with different types of products and different types of ailments. Because also during this time, I was undergoing this really cool rebirth when it came to the relationship with my body. So I was going through like a plant-based diet. I had removed all types of chemicals from my hair. I was making my own bath and skincare. I was making my own toothpaste. And so I kind of just, it took this world of sustainability and agriculture and farming, and it made it more personal. Now it was directly affecting my life. And so that's where I kind of came up with this idea of taking, my work experience as well as my personal experience and building something. And that's where the Be Better company came.
That is awesome. That's really, really great. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, because you're blending. It's like what everybody wants in life. You're blending your passion and what you know, what you love, what you want in with your knowledge, your expertise, and what's also going to bring you monetary value, growth, success, legacy.
Absolutely.
Those two. So
absolutely.
Equals happiness, equals life. Yes.
Right.
And then giving so much value to other people, because like I said before, like this trend that's happening with like holistic medicine, treating your body better, non-Western medicine, getting what we can out of the earth. It's I hope it sticks, because primitively, that's how humans have lived and survived. You know what I mean? And then of course
Absolutely.
Western medicine came, it has its pros and cons, but then I feel like it pushed out holistic medicine. Whereas like the
Right.
two can
Right.
be can live together. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um,
Right.
and a lot of people have cured. I know my mom-in-law half cured herself from MS, just by changing her diet.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
100% believe in all of that. And you could tell just in how you take care of yourself, what you're exerting into the world, you could tell you are taking care of yourself, and
Absolutely.
people relate to that. They vibe with that. They're like, what is she doing? You know what I mean? She's glowing, she's happy, she's like living her best life. What is
Right.
she doing? And
Right.
they want it.
Right. And it helps me to stay committed,
Yeah.
making this not to say about myself, but including myself in the journey, in my business's journey. It allows me to stay accountable and also stay committed, because every day I'm making sure, well, what have I done for self-care? If I'm promoting this daily, what have I done for self? Am I pouring from an empty cup? Am I educating myself as well? And that's been a component about entrepreneurship that I didn't realize, is that now that I'm not working on farms, it's my job to make sure that I'm staying ahead of all education, all research, and all data, so that I can be sure that I can share this and educate my people as well.
Yes, and that's so important, because you're like the doctor to the people. Like this is the medicine you're providing, and people look to you to trust. You know what I mean? Like when I
Right.
told my sisters about you, I'm like, this girl, she knows what she's doing. Like she values what she's doing.
Oh,
Yeah, like I talked about it from like the foundational level. Like fuck the product. We know the product is good because the person that running it is good. You know what I mean? Like, and that is
yeah.
so important, because people, no matter what you offer, people will buy it if they buy you, and if they like you and they trust you and they know what your quality. So whatever you offer them is going to be quality. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's crazy, because not to say that I was just out here, thieving and
awesome.
being a horrible person, but having this business with its own mission, with its own standards, it has really forced me to uphold, like to be a person of morals, because
Yeah.
like you said, I want people to respect the company because they respect me, and know that, I'm coming from pure intentions, so yeah, it's just crazy. It's crazy how it's forced me to really mature and make sure that I'm doing things the right way at all times.
That is so good. Yeah. It's like a level of your own integrity, and you willing to match up to that accountability that, what your business represents. I want to be held accountable to that also as a person. Again, that speaks to your
Right.
level of integrity, which is really great. And like I said, it shows from what I've seen on social, and what people have said through the grapevine. They love you and they support it, and that
Oh,
speaks volumes. Yeah, it speaks big time volumes.
thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, and,
Thank
and
you.
you're
Thank
gonna
you.
do big things because of that. Keep that accountability, keep that level of like, I want to learn, I want to gather, because it's so we're always in a learning mindset, and that's how you
Right.
keep growing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And there's
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
much
Absolutely.
to learn in agriculture. Like, oh my God. That's why
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
love that industry, because I mean, we all live off of it. You know what I mean? Our fruits, our veggies, everything we put in our mouth that is produce comes from our earth, and what we're putting into it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Exactly. It really connecting with nature, connecting with the earth really kind of forces you to think about every action that you take. When you, as I mentioned before, the Be Better Company, our mission is self-advocacy. So now when you're learning how to plant seeds, and now when you're learning how to grow these fruits and vegetables, now it's you have just created an avenue for self. If you ever needed to grow your own fruits and vegetables, if you ever needed to provide for your family, if you ever needed to provide for your community.
Yeah.
And so I've really, the earth has taught me so much with just giving me the tools that I need to be able to provide for self.
Yes. And and the resourcefulness. You're definitely a resourceful person to be able to take something from the ground up. Yeah. And I love that. That's something I want to teach my daughter is resourcefulness. Yeah. From the
Yeah.
ground. Learn to take what we have and get what we need from it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And like you said, it's such a, it may sound hard, or it may sound like an entire process, but when you think about it, this is the primitive stance. This is the foundation that we've come from. We've just strayed from it. And so I think, really what's really important for me and for my company is placing these alternatives back into specifically the Black and Brown community, where we're fighting with fast food chains or unhealthy produce, and also, those types of things, or skincare products that may not be the best fit for our skin type. And
pain
so, yeah, it's important for me to kind of exactly to, I'm not here to I'm not here to say that like I can cure or eradicate, but I'm just trying to remind people that there are other avenues that they can take themselves, without having to go, somewhere else.
Right. And treat themselves in a more natural way that doesn't then you treat yourself with this pill and then now your liver is failing because, or your kidney is this because, your side effects of this pill, you know what I mean? That's
Right.
beauty and the value of going holistic, because you're not damaging
Right.
something else to fix this one ailment,
Absolutely.
That's so important. Yeah, that is so important. Yeah. So
And
what
I try to tell,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and I try to tell people who are fans of the product or just fans of anything holistic to share this information with their doctors, because that's also how we can bridge that gap. When doctors know that there are other alternatives that work, they can further promote. Yeah, and I just think that it'll help both communities.
Wow, that's great. What a great thought. I actually never really thought about that. And it is about bridging them. So that way one doesn't push out the other, like they can live in coexistence and
Right.
Still help the masses. Yeah,
Absolutely.
so good. That's a great thing to tell
Absolutely.
people, to encourage them to go back and to talk to their doctors about it. Because once your doctor says it, majority of America believes it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
It's so funny. Yes. Yeah. So what do you think has been your biggest challenge so far?
Social media.
Yeah.
Social media for sure. Yeah. I'm not, over the years, I have become less and less consistent with social media. Yeah. It goes from, there's just so much that goes into it. And then when you approach it from a business standpoint, it's even more, the caption matters, the hashtags matter, the location matters, the content, the interactions. That's probably the hardest part for me, is being consistent with social media, because I know that now that I'm coming from a place of business, I know that there's a way to monetize. Yeah. When it's personal, you can throw up a selfie and kind of just, a cute caption and go on about your day. But, when you're trying to monetize your views and, all of the insights, I would say that's been the hardest part. Some days I don't even want to post, but I'm just so worried about losing followers or, that traction that I've created. So yeah, I would say that's
important. Yeah, it is. It's definitely a very important way of marketing, staying in people's heads. So they are constantly seeing you. It's crucial. I got to say, have you thought about maybe hiring someone part-time just to do a little bit, so that way you constantly have something being posted or some sort of engagement happening?
So yes, I have definitely flirted with the idea. But what I think I'm going to do is, right now I'm building the content. So I'm taking the product shots, the lifestyle shots. I'm writing down the direction that I want the social media page to go. So I think I'm going to gather that information first. I'm a little bit of a control freak. That way I can kind of then take this information and give it to the person.
Yes.
And
Every
entrepreneur
entrepreneur
is. To post, this is the direction.
Yes. Believe me, every entrepreneur is.
It's bad.
Controlling
it's bad.
Hell, yes. Because it's your baby. It's like you want it done this particular way. I totally get it. I do.
Yes.
And you know what? The more that you grow and the quicker that you grow, the more it's gonna naturally start to fall away. You're naturally gonna start to like get rid of that control and give it to people, but it's gonna be like, it's gonna force it. The growth that you have is gonna force it, you know? But I 100% know exactly what you're talking about. Every entrepreneur has said it. I've been through it. So yeah, we know that you're an entrepreneur.
Yes. I hired someone to help me with my labels, and like after about an hour I was like, that's okay, I'll do it, you know, like it's just, but like you said, it's my baby. But yeah, that's probably the hardest.
Great thing. But yeah, content too, that's probably one of the hardest things, is even gathering lots of content, because you're going to need constant content. It's like sometimes I run out of content. I'm like, oh my God, I need to make more content. So that's one thing, just keep as much content in your ammunition as you possibly can.
Right.
Yeah.
So honestly, it got to the point that I started creating content from not having content. You know what I mean? Like, what can I say in this space? You know, like
exactly. Sometimes I'll go back in my pictures in my gallery and I'm like, all right, let me go back and through pictures and see what I could post, like TBT at least, or like something, just to let people I'm still alive. I'm like, I don't want to take new pictures. What can I find from the past?
Oh my gosh, it's so nerve-wracking.
And the amount of time that we already spend on our phones and on our devices, it's like, and then you got to get more, because you got to get more content.
Absolutely. And also, like you said, bringing up, you know, being on social media and seeing other content, it's important to stay authentic. You know what I mean? Sometimes everything gets blurred and you're thinking you're coming up with this really cool idea, but it's actually something that you've seen on social media. So it's important to kind of make sure that you're still bringing it back to your thing, your brand, you know, your representation, your integrity.
Absolutely. Yeah. All of it. Exactly. Because believe it or not, people say like, oh, it's, you know, sometimes I'll just post random things that has nothing to do with me. All of it does. Whatever you post, people are automatically going to be like, oh, that's what she thinks. Oh, that's what she feels. Oh, that's what, even though it was just something funny, they're like, oh, that's what she thinks. So whatever, like you said, it is a full representation of you, your brand. Yes. Yep. It's so funny.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So what does a typical self-care plan look like for you?
Ooh. Okay. So let me think about this. So honestly, a typical self-care plan, it doesn't have
like for you, what do you do for your self-care?
For my self-care, okay, so for my self-care, I have to have music.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Music just allows me to get out of my head.
Yeah.
I like to light incense or candles. So that allows me, setting the mood is very important for me. So that's the first part of self-care. Self-care is honestly just putting intention into whatever it is that I'm doing. So let's just say I'm taking a bath. You know what I mean? It's maybe pouring some soaks in. I have some lavender flowers. It's setting an intention for the bath. You know, what am I looking to release?
That's good.
Am I experiencing some type of fatigue or pain? Can I, you know, focus on this pain and think of a plan? You know, do I need to drink more water? It's kind of just centering myself in whatever task that I'm doing. And so I would definitely say that setting the mood, setting an intention, and centering myself.
Yeah. That's so good, because a lot of times
especially
people,
as a mom.
yes, absolutely. And that's good, because a lot of times people will just say what they do for self-care, like the bath and the candles and all of that. But I've never actually heard, like, no, going into it, what am I trying to release? What am I? That is so, I'm actually really going to start using that, because I do the same thing. Oh, let me put my lotion on just to get it done. And I feel like, okay, finally I put lotion on my skin. But like, what am I releasing through this? Or finally I get to take a bath or a walk. Are my thoughts still all over the place while I'm taking a bath and a walk?
Right.
Is that really self-care?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, are you really being
Right.
mindful? Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. I like that. Yeah.
And it was honestly, it was the public.
Yeah.
It was the public that really made me check myself, because, as you said, self-care we're seeing it everywhere and it's becoming very trendy.
Mhm.
And so it kind of forced me to really sit and make sure that what I was doing what I said I was doing.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure, okay, well, when I'm yelling self-care from the mountaintops, but
Yeah.
what is it?
Right.
What does the Be Better company, how do we contribute to that self-care experience? And so I've had to do the work. I had to take the salt soak and pour it in the bath and say, okay, well, how do I feel? How do I make this an experience?
Yes.
And so, yeah.
That is awesome. Yeah. And it's also like really trying to delve in and feel what your customers and your clients are going to feel or want to feel, when they use your
Absolutely.
products. Yeah. That's awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. How do you think did the pandemic affect your business at all? And if it did, how did you pivot around it?
It greatly affected my business. I was working at the community college here, and I made the decision to quit my job and invest in the Be Better company full time in December, and then the
Wow.
pandemic started in March.
Wow.
So majority of my sales or business, mostly at that time, came from events. So
Yeah.
I would work throughout the week, and I'd take some weekday events or weekend events. So when the pandemic started, everything shut down.
Yeah.
And it was scary for a second, but it just forced me to really come up with a plan and execute. And it allowed me to see my creativity in the face of adversity.
Yeah.
I always think of creativity when I'm thinking of art and all that stuff, but it really forced me to be creative in terms of, okay, how am I going to keep my business afloat?
Yes.
And
Wow.
so social media came in,
Yeah.
creating that and content that was engaging as well as encouraging. I didn't want to be that business that's like, it's crazy out right now, but buy my products. You know what I
Right.
mean? I wanted people to know that, like, I too am,
Yeah.
feeling all of the feelings that are happening right now, and I support you guys. Let me know what we can do for you guys. And
Wow.
so I had to transition into online sales, and so that was a new venture for me. Making sure my website was up to date and easy to navigate.
Yeah.
And so that was probably the biggest change for me during the pandemic, is going from mostly events to online sales.
Yes. Right. Absolutely. And now, do you find yourself, is it opening back up again to get back into events? Do you think you'll do that? Or a lot of times people are like, "Man, I went online and like, I love it here, you know?" So they don't even want
Yeah.
to go back to the way things used to be. Yeah.
Right.
But I feel like in your
So
industry,
right
it's so
now I'm
important to
actually in a
have those events.
very, oh yeah. And see, and that's what I love about the events, honestly, is I get to talk. I get to tell
Yeah.
people what I like most, all of the different uses, all of the different essential oils or ingredients,
Yeah.
the cultivation process. And so online, you don't get that. But right now I'm in a very unique space, because I'm on online. Events have started again, and then now I'm also in some retail spaces.
Okay.
So it's all very different, but things are definitely changing. They're opening back up, so I'm excited.
Yeah. That is really awesome. Love that. And one
Yeah.
question I was so excited to talk about it because I know you are a new mom and you are holding down a business,
Yes.
which like blows me away. 100% blows me away. Yeah, I think that is one of the hardest things to do is to be a mom and a businesswoman. Like, so kudos to you, girl,
Yeah.
100%. I'm lucky because I have Chris as the partner. He could hold down the business while I focus on mom. You do it all. You do it all. So I am like, bow down to
Thank you.
you. Yes.
Thank you.
Tell me about that because I know you're going to inspire so many other moms just by being you, just by being that, a mom and a business owner. You're going to inspire your daughter. It makes me want to cry. Like, I love it. I love what you're
Oh,
doing. So yeah, talk about it.
thank you. So it's hard.
Yeah.
There's definitely no way around it. It's hard, but what keeps me going and what keeps me from complaining or letting it take me under is the work-life balance. Sometimes I have to get creative with when I can spend time with my daughter versus when I can work. Sometimes it's one of those things where it's like, okay, she needs my attention today.
Yeah.
I'm going to be up at 2:00 making products. It is what it is, but I wouldn't trade it because I get to be present with my daughter. I get to work for 2 hours or so, take a break, maybe, play a game with her, take a walk, go to the zoo, come back and work again.
Yeah.
So, it's the beauty in the madness has been being able to have that relationship with my daughter and watch her grow.
Yes. That is so, yes. And that is the main reason, I became an entrepreneur first before I had kids. It was like that control of my time, my schedule, my life. Like I knew how hard it is to be an entrepreneur. Up front, it is sacrifice, like no life, sacrifice. But on the back end, it's man, now I get to control. People don't control me. No one gives me a schedule. I make my own schedule. And now having a child, that has just gone from here, the importance level to like here. Cause now I get every doctor's appointment. I'm there anytime. Like you said, I want to take her somewhere. I'm going to take her. And then tomorrow I'll get work done. It is such an awesome trade-off, the sacrifice for that control that I get in the end. Yeah. Yeah. That is great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. How do you think,
and my daughter,
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just going to say my daughter is, I know, she's going to be 3 in August. So, for me at this time, I feel like she's growing every second.
Yeah.
So, what also keeps me going is sometimes the thought of, had I been at a 9 to 5, would I have missed certain milestones, so when I do want to complain, when I do miss the consistency of a paycheck every 2 weeks, I try to remind myself of things that are worth it,
That part, that part, that is so good because a lot of times it's that consistency or like, I can plan my budget better, or it's just the consistency of a check will lead someone back to the slavery of corporate America. It's that ball and chain, that is so crucial because it is probably one of the number one reasons people go from entrepreneurship back into corporate America is that comfort of like consistency. Because in entrepreneurship in the beginning stages, and even sometimes your business might crash and burn, you never know, but it can fluctuate. That income can fluctuate. It's not consistent. It's up and down. And that can easily knock someone back into the 40-hour week schedule. They can control money.
Right.
Yeah, that is so crucial to remind yourself of why am I doing this and what are the pros of this, sacrifice now for everything later. Yeah. Wow. That's good.
Right.
Yeah. So what advice do you think you would give someone else starting their entrepreneurial journey in this space? or in any space?
In any space. Okay. I would say the biggest one, the main one would be to start where you are. I hear so many people, and I myself did the same thing. I hear so many people, they want to get the banner done first. They want to perfect the logo. They want to get the perfect jar. They want to get the perfect, you know what I mean? But start with where you are with what you have. Because time flies, you know, in the year or 3 years or 5 years that it takes you to perfect this recipe, someone else or 10 more people have taken that same idea and have done it.
Yeah.
So I would say, yes, start where you are. Don't wait until everything is perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That is such a funny
and then
story.
Also,
go ahead. What was the other one?
No, go ahead.
That
No.
So absolutely true. It's such a funny story. So this podcast alone, I thought of this podcast like 2 years, not even like 3-4 years ago. I was like, it would be amazing. And I was still in California at the time. And I was like, we were thinking of moving to Pennsylvania. But I was like, man, it'd be amazing to start a podcast for Milt entrepreneurs, you know, like the whole idea hit me and I was like, oh, that'd be awesome. But let me get on the East Coast first. So then I'm around more Milts. And then I got on the East Coast and then I was like, all right, but I want the perfect cover art. I was like, my cover art has to be 100% exactly what I think before I drop the podcast. You know? So I had another Milt working on it for me. So by the time I got it ready, all of a sudden another podcast came out called Milt Talk. And that was what my podcast was going to be called. It was just going to be called Milt Talk. That's it.
Wow.
And then I saw the other podcast and I was like, fuck, like, damn, they got my name. Oh my God. Like how stupid I waited too long.
I'm telling you.
And I was like, so I reached out to them and I was like, fuck, like I actually thought about, I love what you guys are doing, but theirs is like just talking about growing up, Milton Hershey, stories of Milton Hershey, stuff like that. It's not specifically only entrepreneurs.
Right.
So I was like, mine is just entrepreneurs. I love what you guys are doing. They even had me on their podcast as a guest. I had them on mine. And I told them that story. I'm like, it's the fucking power of just execute. Don't wait, just start. So I had to add on to my name, Legacy Builders. So instead of just being Milt Talk, it became Milt Talk Legacy Builders. But it worked out so good because it's nice that it says that because then people know it's just entrepreneurs. But fucking execute, don't wait. Best piece of advice.
and I don't know how much of it, like, you know, how much of it is us just wanting to roll out something for people that's just perfect. Yeah. But like, I've changed my logo so many times. I've changed my business name. You know, I've changed so many things, and I thought it would be embarrassing, but now I almost feel like it helps people relate. You know what I mean? They see that you're a real person, that one day you wake up and you're like, oh, I don't like that anymore, you know, or whatever the situation is. But I've definitely made some huge changes from starting from where I was, but I have no regrets. I have no regrets.
That is great. Yeah. And then what was your second piece of advice?
So my second piece of advice would be to connect with other entrepreneurs. It sounds so simple and it sounds obvious. But there have been a lot of times where I have been so overwhelmed, and I've convinced myself that these are issues that only I'm dealing with. And then I talk to people, other entrepreneurs of different industries, not even being in the same industry as myself. And we're all going through the same thing. We're all tired of social media. You know, we're all struggling to make sure that our websites are functioning. You know, we all struggle with time management. You know, for those of us who offer products, we are all struggling with shipping delays, or, you know what I mean? So it's not until you kind of get out there and you can vocalize some of the things that you're experiencing, you'll meet other people with different types of solutions that can help.
Yes. Oh, that is so, it's like a support group too. Like that's the first time I heard that. And that is such good advice. And I've heard people say, you know, get a mentor, but talking to other entrepreneurs so you don't feel so alone, and you get advice, feedback, thoughts, more brains to help, get yourself out of, because sometimes we'll get like a brain fog, or we'll just get like a brick wall, and we're just so frustrated. Then someone else you talk to about it can be like, maybe you could look at it this way, or maybe this is what I would do. That's so good. It's awesome to have a network of like-minded people. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Good. Wow, that's good advice. I'm definitely going to use that also. Thank you. And what advice do you think you would give to your younger self?
So I'll be honest. I think I had a lot of entitlement, growing up in Milton Hershey. I went there so young. And so I didn't have the mental capacity to realize that I was being given everything. I was too young to compare it to what I was coming from. And so I learned a lot of hard lessons, after Milton Hershey, realizing that the world doesn't owe me anything. And so I would say that what I would tell my younger self is to take advantage, take advantage of every opportunity given to me, fill myself up so that when it's my time to go, I know that I have used every talent and every, creative juice that I have. So I would say to take advantage of all the opportunities that I had.
Yeah, that's so crucial. Like, and it's so funny because we can live with so much less regret when, we live in the moment, we take full advantage of what is coming our way, It's always that.
Absolutely.
It's always like hindsight, man, I wish I would have done that more. I wish I would have stuck with that. Yeah. Yeah. And that's something, we could teach our kids. To like, hey, listen, you might not appreciate all this now, but I'm telling you, 10 years from now, you're going to look back and you're going to be like, man, I wish I would have seen that through or utilized that more than I did.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I think a lot of us Mills have that, like, man, I should have utilized that more, or taken more advantage of that. And then also that entitlement that we kind of grew up with, we still, it lingers. Yeah. And I think it was our upbringing there, how things were done for us and what we didn't see, the struggles of paying bills, the struggles of how groceries are buying and how cars are paid. And it was all just done. And we were just kids, but we never, when we went home, we probably saw our parents struggling or our mom struggling or something. But then our day to day was like, everything is great. Toothpaste is free, like everything is free. So I think a lot of us still kind of struggle with that till this day. Yeah. Great point. Yeah. So we're going to end on this note. What do you think is your overall vision for your legacy and your future generation?
Overall vision for my legacy, I would say being as though I spent a lot of my younger adult years kind of feeling lost, not really knowing what was in the cards for me. I think what I want my vision or my legacy to convey is that it's important to know that your life has purpose. It's important to find that or those purposes and share them. And I think that's what I want to encourage people, future generations. I think that's what I would want my legacy to really encourage, is to never stop searching for your purpose. I think a lot of us kind of walk around feeling lost. We don't know what we're here for. But I also think that life is kind of about trying different things, seeing what works for you, seeing what doesn't work for you. And when you look back, you now have these experiences, whether you hated it or you loved it. So that's what I would want. That's my vision for my legacy, is to really encourage people to never stop trying to find their purpose.
Wow, that's so good. That is so good. And self-fulfilling is what it is. And it just, again, it speaks to what your passion is, what you represent as a person and as a brand, is that self-fulfillment, reaching your highest, best, happiest, peaceful self. Yeah. And it's just so many people
Absolutely.
run through life lost and feeling like, they don't know why they're here. Yeah. Yeah. Ugh,
Right.
that's so good. And
Right.
a lot of us, especially moms, we start to feel like that a lot. Especially when the change of identity and all of that. So that is so crucial. Yeah. It's a great legacy to even, have your daughter fulfill for her own life, is that self-fulfillment, live your best life, no
Absolutely.
regrets. Yeah, that's good. Well, she's gonna see
Absolutely.
optimism that way.
Absolutely.
So
I can't wait. I can't wait to get her in the kitchen. She can make these chopsticks with
yes,
me, but
yes, absolutely. That would be so amazing.
yeah.
She's gonna be like 50 times more resourceful because our kids are always like 50
Oh my gosh.
times better than what we ever were. So I can't even imagine the type
I
of stuff
can't
she's gonna be
wait.
doing. Yeah. She's gonna be a whole
I can't wait. I can't wait.
doctor, therapist person. Yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
I hope
That is
so.
great. Yes, yes, we're speaking it into existence.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So before I let you go, what I want you to do is talk about any website you want people to know, any social media platform you want people to follow, whatever contact information you want people to have. So we will let you
Okay.
go with that.
Okay. So you can find the Be Better Company at www.thebebettercompany.com. That is my online store. You can also send me an email directly through the site if you have any questions. If it's your first time, if you'd like some samples, I can do that as well. You can find me on Instagram. It's the Be Better _co. You can shop directly from there. My link is in the bio, but that's great for any type of content. Some people just, I know that a lot of holistic alternatives are still new. So Instagram page provides visuals. You can see how things are being used, what they're being used for. You can also find testimonials on the page if you just want to get an idea for how people like the products. What else? I'm also in stores at Vitality Meditation in Fishtown, Cultivated Bohemians on 4th and Girard, and the Sable Collective online.
Wow, good for you. That is awesome. Look at that. Online events and retail. Awesome. So good. You're doing it.
I'm tired.
I know it. I know. Well, I love what you're building. Yeah, this is great.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being on. This was such a great conversation. Yeah, I can't wait for people to hear about it.
Oh my God, I'm so nervous.
Yes, and I will be hearing from you soon, as always.
Oh, yes.
Nice
Whatever you need, let me know.
Yes. All right. Well, we will talk.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so we're still working on the date, but at Vitality Wellness in Fishtown, I'm going to be doing a spa day. Probably within the next 4 weeks, I will be offering salt soaks, foot soaks. So you can come, you can soak for about 25 minutes. We'll be doing foot reflexology. So you get a small massage. We'll have CBD infused lavender lemonade. Wow. So it's going to be just a day of self-care. There'll also be someone who will be giving facials. Okay. So I'll keep you guys posted and I can provide the link when necessary.
Awesome. So keep them posted on Instagram. Should they watch your Instagram for that or your website?
Yes, please. Yes. I'll post it on Instagram.
Awesome. That sounds good. I'm going to try to make that one this time. Because I know you did that. You did
I'll let you know.
A spa thing before, and I really wanted to go, but I had my daughter, so this time I'm going to try to do it. I'm going to try to come.
Okay.
My God.
I would love to have you.
CBD infused lemonade. Sounds amazing. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. That sounds so good. Yes, please let me know. I'll make sure I'm on your Instagram to see whatever updates you have on that.
Okay, we'll do.
Well, thanks again. We love talking to you.
Thanks, Boo.
Bye.
Of course. We'll talk soon. Bye. All right, bye-bye.